You want me to tell you this story? There's a lot that's tough to understand, even for old folks like me. Then again, maybe you'll be better at figuring this out than I am. First things first, to understand what's going on here, you have to believe in something very important. You have to believe that light is never lost, that the darkness can be sent away. You have to believe people can change for the better, even those who have been soured past bitterness, even the oldest and most wearied souls, the ones who have lost hope for the world.
A minute late. Disgraceful. If I had been at my full speed...
You would have come off the rails. Ice is tricky, Gordon. You should know that by now.
Ice? Bah! Humbug!
People like this guy, Scrooge.
Happy Christmas, Gordon. What's happy about it?
What isn't? The songs, the decorations, and of course there's the party tonight. You're coming, of course?
Certainly not. I've no time for such meaningless gaiety.
Haven't the time? There are no trains that run that late, except the Kipper, of course.
Yes. How exactly did you get out of that?
Bear is a wonderful chap. He agreed to take it so I can attend the party. So what's your excuse?
I'm on reserve duty. You'd be surprised how likely it is for someone to call a special on this holiday. Now, my guard has told me the time. I shall have no part in your silly festivities. I've no time for partying, and I've no time for you.
Scrooge wasn't exactly the most holly and jolly fellow around. It seemed that the more everyone else built up their own winter wonderlands, the more disillusioned he became with all the fun everyone was having. To Scrooge, the holidays were nothing more than a disruption of established routine. Scrooge liked everything to run like clockwork. What use was Christmas if it didn't keep the timetables?
Morning, sir.
Morning, Gordon. You're looking rather somber for Christmas Eve.
You're looking rather cheery for a cold morning.
I just finalized the agreement on that Coldy Fell property I've been trying to get rid of, and for a good sum. An American bought it for £93,000. 93,000. The place was hardly worth 60, but I didn't argue.
Quite a deal.
Anyways, I'm heading home for the day. Brooke needs help preparing dinner.
Home? It's hardly 9 o'clock. Shouldn't you be back at the office?
Of course not. The firm is happy to give me the day off after that sell.
But it's your job. Shouldn't you be out there selling more homes?
Nobody goes to the realtors on Christmas Eve. Besides, we're hosting Christmas dinner this year, and Brooke is going to need all the help she can get. My father may have lost his back, but his stomach is ship-shape. Very well. You don't have to do this. I know it's against the rules. Nonsense. I'll be fine. What's a little rule bending here and there? You deserve to take this time. Oliver deserves it. Don't worry about me. I'll handle everything. Bless your firebox, Molly. I'll let the other little Westerners know the good news. Not an ounce of trouble, Doc. Have a happy Christmas. And a happy Christmas to you. Cheerio. Thanks again. Hello, Gordon. Happy Christmas Eve.
Happy indeed. This is the worst time of year. Extra trains, noisy passengers, and this weather on top of it all.
I'm surprised at you, Gordon. Christmas is meant to be a time of joy and giving. Can't you hear the carols? Everyone's having a good time.
Bah! Humbug! A garish facade, all of it. Especially when there's cause for concern right under our noses.
Melody? Gordon, she's already proven herself. You heard the story. She's not a bad engine. What have you got against her now?
Melody is beside the point. I was referring to your little conversation with Molly just now. Just what rules must I get the Fat Controller to stop you from breaking?
Please don't tell the Fat Controller, Gordon. It's only a harmless...
Bah! Anything that disrupts the natural order of the railway is far from harmless. Now speak up!
All right. The other Little Western engines and I are going to surprise Oliver at the steamworks. Since he can't get out for the annual party, we're bringing a party to him. I just need Molly to take my last train so I can get there in time. I know mainline engines aren't supposed to take branch line trains, but...
And for good reason. Branch lines are vulgar.
Unfit for large engines, yes, but that stretch of line is quite safe. Drivers made sure of it. And it's only for a little ways. Oh, please don't tell the Fat Controller. It's a lot of unnecessary mess for a small thing. Please, Gordon. For Oliver.
Very well. But just this once. I want to see you bright and early tomorrow morning, working hard on your own trains.
Oh, thank you, Gordon. I'm so glad you understood. I couldn't just leave an engine hanging, you know. That's not the Great Western way. A happy Christmas to you, Gordon, and thanks again.
Indeed.
In short, there were no visions of sugar plums dancing in Scrooge's head. The holidays were a humbug, nothing more and nothing less. Of course, Scrooge hadn't always been such a sourpuss. He was old now, but once he had been young, full of life. He had had a family, lots of brothers, lots of friends, but almost all of them were long gone by now. And with them, Scrooge's touch with the world and all that was happy. It was especially evident this time of year that he couldn't feel happy.
Good night, old boy. We'll see you tomorrow.
You're not staying?
Of course not. We're going home to see our families. There's a reserve crew on hand in case you're needed. Toodaloo. And do try to lighten up, Gordon. It is Christmas Eve, after all.
We shall see.
Even if he wanted to, he couldn't. He'd forgotten how.
At last. So much noise these days. Perhaps I'll finally get some rest. It's good to be alone.
But on that Christmas Eve night, Scrooge wasn't going to be alone for long. On that night, Scrooge was going to get the craziest wake-up call you've ever seen. Something to remind him of that youth and happiness he'd lost. For on that night, Scrooge was about to have a visitor.
Who's that? Gordon! Good Godred, that voice. It can't be. Molly? Gordon! It is I.
A phantom seemed to appear to Scrooge, a vision of a colleague long past beyond the grave. Scrooge was terrified, but the ghost wasn't there just to scare him. It had a dire message to deliver.
No, it's impossible. You're gone. Scrapped years ago. You all were. I have returned. But not for long. Long enough to give you a warning. A warning? Of what? You have chosen the wrong path, Gordon. The path of distrust and bitterness. It will only lead you to ruin and despair. How do you know this? Because it was the path that I followed. Look at me now! I have been condemned to rot and rust for eternity, crumbling away in purgatory, because I chose a life of contempt, and it was my end.
What
Whatever do you mean? It was the Diesels who replaced you. Nothing of your doing.
Wasn't it? It was my doing. We were meant to work together, and I shunned the unknown. Because of me, they sent us all to the scrapyards. That is the fate from which I hope to spare you.
Me?
Tonight, you will be visited by 3 more spirits. I can only hope that what they show you will convince you of the words I have spoken tonight.
3 more visitors? What? Who? When?
Be wary tonight, my brother. Expect the first when the clock strikes 1. I warn you once more. If you follow in my tracks, you too will lose everything!
Poor Scrooge was scared out of his wits by what he saw, but he wasn't sure he believed it. Had his old colleague really returned from beyond the grave? Were such things even possible? And would there be, as the ghost had said, 3 more visitors? As the clock ticked towards 1, Scrooge could only wait and wonder.
No spirit after all. Spirits. Warnings. Christmas. Humbug. Just a dream was all. I really must be getting to sleep. What?
It was then that Scrooge's first visitor arrived. It was a beautiful young maiden, dazzling to the eye. Scrooge thought there was something almost familiar in her feminine youth.
Hello, Gordon.
What? Lady? Where did you spring from?
My familiar form is merely a guise. We spirits can take on many appearances. While to you I look like your old friend, in reality I am just a spirit, a ghost of Christmas past.
Well, good for you. Now then, if you wouldn't mind, I would rather enjoy some sleep. So if you could just go on your ghostly way, then...
I'm not leaving yet, Gordon. Not until my work with you is done.
Well, you can start by putting that blasted light out.
Come, Gordon. We have much to see.
Where are you going? If you're expecting me to follow you, I've neither driver nor fire... What? Is this your doing?
Of course.
Where are we going?
Not where, Gordon. When?
Stop! There's a switch ahead.
Don't worry about that.
Spirit, stop! We'll run into each other.
Hold on.
Look out! Oh, where am I? How did we end up here? What have you done? Take me home at once.
Look, Gordon. Don't you remember this place?
What? Why, of course. This is Doncaster Works. It's where I was built. I say, is that Flying Scotsman? Why, yes it is. Scotsman! Scotsman over here! It's me, Gordon! Will he not answer?
He can't hear you. Or see you, for that matter. In fact, we're not really here.
What do you mean, we're not really... It cannot be. Is that me? Hello there. My name is Flying Scotsman. Hello. Driver tells me my name is Gordon.
Welcome to the world, brother. You are part of the railway now.
I don't understand. How am I in two places at once? What trickery is this, Spirit?
It is no trick, Gordon. Do you not recall? This is your memory. Hold on. Perhaps I do remember. Yes, of course. This is the day I was completed. So long ago. Yet I remember meeting Scotsman like it was yesterday. He told me that day that we Doncasters have a great responsibility to our railways. It is our duty to carry out all work with pride and dedication to service.
Haha, he was right, you know. We Doncasters are quite the upper class.
That's not what he told you 3 months later.
Eh? Hurry up, you. Don't you know I'm Doncaster drawn? I have a reputation to keep up. I can't have your slowness delaying my important train.
Blimey, will you can it? I can only work so fast safely. Anyway, your ego's as hot as your smoke box, and just as empty of substance.
Why, you insolent...
Hush, Gordon. You're making a scene.
But I was only defending my position. You said it yourself, brother. We Doncaster engines have an important duty to our railways.
As does every engine, from the humblest shunter to the fastest express engine. Everyone on a railway must do their wheels turn, and no turn is too small to move forward.
Oh, I suppose you're right, Scotsman. Listen, I'm very sorry for what I said. I suppose I'm still young, have a lot to learn.
It's alright, I suppose. We all make mistakes. I popped off a little bit too. Listen, I'll get these shunting for you as fast as I can. Enjoy your run. Sometimes I wish I could go as fast as engines like you.
Yes, thank you.
I can't say I'm not looking forward to this, though. My first real express run. It's going to be so exciting. I live for moments like these. Just my wheels turn, I suppose, though. Indeed, Gordon. Keep moving forward, won't you? How poetic. And humble. I wonder where all of that humility went. If it ever really rubbed off on you, it didn't seem to stick very well.
Just because everyone does their part doesn't mean they are of equal importance.
And what of diesels? What part do they play?
The lowest of the low. They are filthy, vile, cold creatures with no heart. They are never to be trusted. Marley, just because they are different doesn't mean...
Doesn't it? They're taking over, Scotsman. They can't be trusted.
I say, this intolerance is hardly something we should be teaching Gordon. Why not? He needs to learn, even the ugly things. We must stand strong together against this threat, not let them gain any ground. But he does have a point, Scotsman. Driver tells me there are more of them everywhere every day. Diesels are bad news for us. Just remember, Gordon, trust what you know. Be vigilant of what you don't. Let us hope you never have to deal with diesels on your new railway. Fare thee well, brother. I'm going to miss this place. I'll miss you, my brothers. I can only hope that this Northwestern Railway knows how to treat proper engines.
I'm sure it will, Gordon. I've heard many nice things about Sodor. I'm certain you will find it welcoming. The question is, will you welcome it? Now what could that mean? Marley's full of hot air sometimes. He doesn't think the unknown should ever be embraced. Perhaps it shouldn't, but it doesn't have to be pushed away either.
And what if pushing it away is better?
It isn't. Open buffers, Gordon. Whatever you may find on Sodor, be prepared to see not just the bad in it, but the good as well. Did you take his advice?
Well, I listened, certainly. Scotsman was and is still a wise engine.
Certainly doesn't seem as though you still see things his way.
The world is a lot more complicated than Scotsman made it sound. Welcome, Gordon, to the Northwestern Railway. I'm Sir Topham Hatt, the director.
I'm very pleased to have you. I've heard many great things about your class, and I think you are just the engine to run our express passenger service.
Thank you, sir. If I may, are there any diesels on this railway?
Of course not. Why do you ask?
It's nothing. I was just making sure.
The maiden showed Scrooge memories from his youth, things he had suppressed in the back of his mind, a time when he hadn't been so sour, a time when he knew how to live.
Wake up, lazy bones! Why don't you work hard like me?
What cheek. I propose an alliance. United we stand, together we fall. You help me, and I'll help you. It's all wrong, sir. It's St. Pancras.
Why, it's Flying Scotsman. He's come to visit.
I had a rebuild. They didn't do a proper Doncaster job, of course, but it serves.
No, Bill. This lot's useless for scrap. We should take it to the harbor and dump it into the sea.
I am, Gordon. Stop! Stop!
Boko, my dear engine, save me!
I remember this. I thought Boko the most beautiful sight I had ever seen. Those little demons, I still don't know how he does it. He's wonderful.
Yes, it is so, just as I thought. You thanked Boko that day, admired him, trusted him.
And why shouldn't I have?
Because from this peak of admiration, of trust, of friendship, you fell so far.
How can it be? All of them gone. Marley. This was right after Scotsman visited Sodor, my lost brother. And he told me exactly what happened to Marley and the others. Melody. Wind the clocks back one iteration of her design, and you have my brothers as murderers. This is the fate of those who trust diesels. My brothers. They learned that too late.
You fool. You've been watching without seeing, hearing without listening. Did Scotsman ever tell you what really happened?
And what's that?
Marley led a strike, tried to get the diesels off the railway. The controller didn't like the work being stopped. That's why Marley was scrapped. Not because of the diesels, but because of his fear and his coldness.
All right, Spirit. Enough! Why have you shown me these things?
Because you've lost your way. I want you to remember the engine you once were, not this tragedy you are becoming.
But why? What can I gain from this?
You can remember what it feels like to hope. Without hope, all life will flicker away, like a candle in the wind, blown out, gone.
Poor Scrooge was rather shaken up by what he had seen. The spirit had shown him many things. Though he had kept the memories of what happened, He had lost the memories of how these events had made him feel. For a moment, Scrooge saw a little of his old self creeping back. But that was all behind him now, wasn't it? I mean, regardless, how was he to know whether the spirit had told the truth about his colleague? Even if it had, it wouldn't have been his attitude that led him to ruin. Could it? The clock struck 2, and just like that, the second visitor appeared. He was very large and looked very strong. Scrooge thought his appearance almost outlandish. So many colors! And he wore also a broad smile. His whole enormous body rumbled cheerily with his hearty laugh.
Hero, you're the next visitor?
Guys, as I am sure you know, tell me, Gordon, are you ready to see more tonight?
See what? The lost spirit showed me quite enough of my own past. What more is there to see?
From the past, perhaps nothing. But I am not the previous spirit. I am the ghost of Christmas present.
So what? You're going to show me things that already are? What good is that?
You are rather close-minded, friend. There is much going on tonight from which you can learn. Come along.
The second ghost took Scrooge to a place where his friends had gathered. The party. They laughed merrily and chatted amicably.
What are we doing here?
Watch and listen, friend. Watch and listen.
I never said we were friends, you know. I suppose they can't see or hear us either.
Of course not. Now watch.
But as the night went on, the conversation turned to Scrooge himself.
Ah, Toby. Good of you to come.
Happy Christmas, Toby. You too, Percy. Happy Christmas, everyone. I'm glad I could be here. I wasn't sure there would be room.
Doc isn't with us tonight. He's with Oliver.
Dear me. I'm glad they could bring a small party to him. It seems we have another absence tonight.
Yes, Gordon. He insisted he was on reserve duty or something. I think he just didn't want to come. Fine by me. He's been a real grouch lately. Pah! Indeed. Say that to my face, James.
You prove his point.
What has happened to him? He's never been so bitter before, especially around Christmas. What happened to tidings of comfort and joy and all that? I don't know. I only hope he'll pull out of this mood before it's too late.
Too late?
Somehow his heart is shrinking, getting smaller, colder, and harder. In its place grows a blackness. One day, if he isn't careful, it will consume him. Pah! His loss.
No, James. If the Gordon we know, the good, kind-hearted Gordon, is lost, if that day comes, we will all lose something. A colleague, a brother, a friend.
Well, then I pray for his well-being. Driver, a toast. To Gordon.
To Gordon.
Yes, to Gordon.
You have a funny look on your face, friend.
Henry. That's interesting what he said. Blackness indeed. I don't know.
Your friends care about you, Gordon. For now. But you are
pushing them away. Losing them. I almost wish I could join them right now.
Come. We have more to see.
Stirred by what the spirit had shown him, Scrooge followed close behind as they traveled, lost in thought. He marveled at the things his friends had said about him, wondering if it was, as one had said, too late. As they continued on their way, the spirit showed him a great many places and people. Scrooge had seen these people before, but now felt he had never really seen them at all. The happiness, the joy, the everyday kindness he saw seemed so alien to him. It crept inside him and made him feel uncomfortable, but somehow it felt good.
For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Amen. Now then, Happy Christmas to all! I can't think of a better place to spend the night than right here, surrounded by my wonderful family. And God bless the cook. Or should we say the brook? Oh, you're too kind, Emily. I hope you all enjoy. Abigail, come sit down, please. Beautiful, isn't it? Not that you notice such meaningless gaiety.
What's that supposed to mean? Meaningless indeed. Look at them. They're having such a good time. I never realized what a beautiful family the Hats were. Can't you see their happiness?
A garish facade, I'm sure.
How can you say that?
Alas, the words are yours. Come, there is one more place you must see.
The spirit showed Scrooge his colleague, the one who wanted the night off. With him was a little guy who was sick.
Oh, there he is, at last.
We were worried you'd gotten lost in the snow.
Huh, not me. Lucky I could come at all, though. Gordon almost didn't let me. Heartless, pompous, galloping sausage. I can't figure why you think you have to answer to him.
I don't. I answer to the Fat Controller. But Gordon has a way of being persuasive about the wrong things.
But regardless, where's Oliver?
The same place you left me, Duck. What's that you've got there?
Oh, just a little Christmas gift for you.
You didn't. Oh, sake. Is that what I think it is?
A piston rod. One compatible with Oliver's design.
A piston rod? What kind of a present is that?
Doc, how on earth did you find one?
I had to pull a lot of strings with old friends, but it was well worth it. Anything for a friend in need. Happy Christmas, Oliver.
Doc, I don't know what to say. Thank you.
Very sick. Everyone around him was trying to make his days as comfortable and happy as possible, but there was a lot of trouble finding what he needed to get better. Though nobody ever talked about it, there was a definite chance that the poor tiny fellow wasn't going to make it.
He doesn't sound well. He isn't. Or didn't you know? I didn't know how bad it was. How bad is it? Bad. His parts are hard to come by. Steamworks isn't being funded properly. Why ever not? Because nobody wants to tell the Fat Controller otherwise. They think he'll turn them down.
Well, it would certainly do no harm to ask. We can't just do nothing.
Why not? Oliver is old. There comes a time when all must pass. It is only natural. And anything that disrupts the natural order of the railway is far from harmless.
Dare you? That's an awful...
What will happen if nothing is done?
Poor Scrooge barely had the time to process his tiny friend's dire situation when the second spirit turned on him. Blackness suddenly settled all around.
Time will drag on. Slowly but surely, one by one, his friends will lose hope. Hope is what keeps even the most fragile, sickly, rusted frame of an engine alive, even years after they have been condemned for scrap. And once that last spark of hope that things will ever get better is gone, he will die.
I wonder, Gordon, what will happen when everyone loses faith in you.
In a flash, the benevolent second spirit was gone. From the depths of the darkness emerged the third. Scrooge stood back in awe as an angel of death, black as night, silhouetted in a hellish glow, emerged and towered over him. As Scrooge shrank back in fear, the clock struck thrice.
Oh me. Spirit, truly I see that thou art the greatest and most terrible of them all. I fear and respect thee. Christmas past, Christmas present. O ghost of Christmas yet to come, truly I fear thee. Will you not speak to me? Well, if not, please show me whatever it is you wish me to see. I am ready.
Scrooge was frightened by the third ghost, but as he emerged from the darkness, he found himself more saddened than scared. The world he saw was the one he knew, only he didn't know it. Everything looked somehow more gray and forlorn. The silent spirit accompanied him menacingly as they toured the dark future.
So this is the future. It doesn't look too cheery.
Thomas, are you all right?
Yeah. Just hard to believe all that's happened.
The Little Western won't be the same. Nor will the main line, I suppose.
Good riddance to this one. My coaches. Why has James got the express?
He was always a grouch. I, for one, had about enough of him. You won't miss him at all? Will you? I don't think so.
Who are they talking about?
Spirit.
Take care. Doc, I'm truly sorry for your loss.
And I for yours. Listen, if there is ever anything I can do for you, you need only ask. Thank you, Scotsman. You're too good to me. It's the least I can do. Take care, Duck.
No. It can't be. No.
The spirit showed Scrooge something very scary. Graves. One belonged to the tiny sickly fellow. The other was his own. Scrooge looked, and this time he really saw. He saw a dark path where he had given up on the world, and it had given up on him. Something in the future he saw shook Scrooge to the core. All at once he realized what he had done, and what it would mean if he kept doing it. In that moment, something deep inside him changed. What his three visitors had been trying to tell him hit home. Hard. Call it a rough wake-up call, but Scrooge wasn't about to close his eyes to the world again.
It can't be. No, Spirit, please tell me it isn't so. Is this what becomes of us? God, please, no. Spirit, I implore thee, speak. Are these things you have shown me, things that will be, or things that may be? Please, Spirit, tell me it's not too late. I can change. I can change. Gordon! Driver? Fireman! Oh, am I glad to see you! Are you all right? We heard you yelling just as we arrived to light your fire. Oh, driver, you have no idea the night I've had. There were these spirits, see, 3 of them, past, present, and future, and they showed me things, many things. I saw myself, and Scotsman, and Marley, and Oliver, and all the engines, and at first I was scared until I understood what they were trying to tell me, that I've been so horrible to everyone, and the diesels aren't bad at all, and that I need to trust people before it's too... Oh, dear. Driver, what day is it? Christmas Day, you great silly engine. Now slow down. It sounds like you've had a wild dream. A dream? It must have been. But it couldn't have. I say, Christmas Day, you said? Of course. What other day would it be? Then there's still time. Come, we must go at once. I have lots of people to see. So much to do. Onward!
After Scrooge awoke, he felt different. Reborn, you might say. He suddenly realized how horrid he had been to everyone, and now he wanted that to go away. First things first, he had to see about his friends.
Top of the morning, Henry, my dear fellow, and happy Christmas. Oh, you too, Gordon. Are you feeling all right? All right? I've never been better. I'm as light as a feather. I'm as merry as a tank engine. But listen, my dear friend, I'm so terribly sorry that I missed the party last night. I was being a dreadful old crosspatch, a stick in the mud, a regular fuddy-duddy. I was awfully rude to you, Henry, and I'm so very sorry. But I want to make it up to you. Why don't I have a little chat with the Fat Controller and see if he won't let you pull the express for a day? Do what? Why, Gordon, I couldn't possibly... All right, a week. I shall arrange it at once. Now then, I must be off. Do give the others my sincerest apologies for missing out on the festivities, Henry. Have a happy Christmas and a wonderful New Year, too. You too, Gordon. Thank you very much. And happy Christmas to you.
Scrooge really made the rounds that day. He had a clean slate, and he had lots of people to see. He was determined to use what the spirits had told him to change for the better. Now, while there was still time. And while most folks were surprised at the change that had overtaken old Scrooge, they couldn't help sharing in his newfound happiness.
Now what the dickens has gotten into our Gordon? No idea, Edward, but I like it. Do you think it will last? For whatever reason, Edward, I have a wonderful feeling that Gordon is a changed engine.
But Scrooge still had one very important stop to make. He had seen his associate and his struggle to take care of that tiny, sickly little guy. He had seen a gravestone, but Scrooge wasn't about to let that future come true, not while there was still hope.
Come, driver, I'm going to play a little joke. Do play along, won't you? All right, Gordon, whatever you say, but I'm pulling you out if something goes awry. Doc! Gordon? What? Gordon? I didn't expect to see...
Cut it out, you great western waterfowl. The Fat Controller is on his way. Your branch line games last night will not go unpunished.
Please, Gordon, you must understand. It was for Oliver. How could I live with myself if I didn't give everything I had to him in his time of need? Good Godfrey, I beg you, you don't have to make this messy.
Oh, it will be messy, all right. But I see the Fat Controller. I'm going to tell him...
What a kind, devoted, really useful engine you are. Gotcha!
Yes, you, really did.
Listen, Doc. I have something very important to say to you. I'm sorry. Sorry for everything I've done, everything I've been in the past. I haven't been a good leader or a good friend. My attitude and my actions have reflected poorly on the entire railway. I've been disgraceful. But last night, I was shown something I thought I had lost long ago. Hope. Without hope, without someone somewhere believing in us, we cannot live. I intend to live out that message, to never give up hope, to take hold of the past, present, and future, and change my ways to finally do some good. Please, can you ever find it in your firebox to forgive me?
Of course, Gordon. I forgive you. And you, Oliver, my dear engine, I am going to do everything in my power, pull all the strings I can muster to get you what you need to feel better. The steamworks shall have whatever it needs to fund your repairs. I won't give up on you. That's a promise.
Gordon, I don't know what to say. Thank you.
Well, amigo, it seems you have indeed changed. But, if I may ask, what happened to bring this on?
Ah, well, it's a long story. Let's just say that I had some unusual visitors last night.
Then we shall leave it at that. A happy Christmas to you, Gordon.
Indeed. Happy Christmas to all.
Happy
Christmas.
Christmas.
God bless us, everyone.
Scrooge had really done it. He was a new man, and he intended to keep it that way. His future looked bright, as did the futures of those around him. Scrooge had remembered how to be happy. He had regained what he once lost, and he wasn't about to let go. So, like I said, there's a lot to learn here, and it's difficult for me, even as an older fellow, but maybe you, in your youth, can understand all of this. Maybe you can be from the very start the person Scrooge had to learn how to be. Yeah,
I don't know, kiddo. What do you think is the moral of the story?